Good evening and welcome to Dune Awakening. Today we are in the lovely place that I've been building for the last few weeks. Well, almost a month actually. Well, yeah, I don't know, a few months or a few weeks to say. Welcome to the Hagga Basin base, my new epic solo player base that has almost everything that any player would love to have. And yes, today I am trying to build the ultimate base that is meant for the soloist. And we are live across everything apart from Facebook today because I had a little bit of a slight issue and had to kind of end up just not running the Facebook one today. So sorry for those that would normally tune into that, but we'll just continue with everyone else. So we're all live across X, YouTube, Kick, and Twitch today. I'm going to kind of like give you a bit of a walk around with what's changed from last week, because you would have probably firstly noticed that all of this has actually now been organized properly, which previously until now hasn't been organized. So we now kind of have a big area, which is what I had always planned. I had always planned to turn this into a big warehouse. At the end, we still have our lovely drop area. I've not had to extend it. Now, as you can see, this thing is huge. Not quite as long as I was expecting it to be. But as you can see, with my character stood next to it, it absolutely dwarfs my character. Even if I was to stand on here, it's still taller than me by quite considerable distance. This thing is absolutely magnificently big, which it should be considering it holds 15,000 volume. But you know, there's plenty of other games where you've got like Mary Poppins bag, which seems to hold endless amounts of stuff, yet it's like the size of a purse or something. So yeah, this is absolutely huge thing. It does work in the way I thought it would. In a sense, it's very much like a vehicle container or a vehicle storage. It's the stuff that's in here is kept completely separate from your base. So when you're building stuff, effectively you can keep stuff in this and it will not take any of the resources out of this because it can't see it. It can't see it unless you move it from here into a storage that is part of the base, and at that point you can then see it, which out of everything the container is going to offer, this is one of the things I was hoping it did, and I'm so glad they did do the mechanics the way I thought they would do it, because again it used to really annoy me that I used to bring back my deep desert stuff, this is what makes our deep desert base, just these components down here, and then I would bring them back to my base, start doing stuff while I'm back here, and then found I've been eating into my like resources here, which then obviously means when you go to put your base, you're like, why am I short of something? Oh, for Christ's sakes, not again. So yeah, that's no longer a thing, which is awesome. As you can see, mine's full. I did go out to the deep desert last week, and I did end up building a deep desert base, which is why I've got like all my components lined up there, because I have already built it. I only built it on Saturday, and yeah, I did use it quite a bit because I went out there, did a load of metal, did like 5 or 6 runs of the metal, compiled it all in there, and then ended up cooking it. So pretty much by the time I built that cargo, I was pretty much out my metal. Obviously, I've got more since, which has then allowed me to build this thing as well. So we've finally got one of these now in Hagga Basin. We have had one of these actually in the deep desert, but as you're aware, in the deep desert, you only need half the resources that you would normally require. So it's a big difference being able to have one back here because it is so good with regards to how much power it can output, and it does it pretty efficiently, to be fair. I always said originally that I wouldn't build one of these because I couldn't see the point, because you have to use spice melange, I thought to build it, well, to actually run it is what I thought originally, but then I found out it's not. It's just the spice pots. And to be fair, I have tons of spice pots, so that kind of actually persuaded me want to do it. And then when I actually did build it, I was like, yeah, actually, this is actually really good. So I'm actually gonna build 4 of these in the base at some point, and we will lose the actual additional ones out here. I might just keep 3 of these just to keep running, because while I run these, I can actually run my passive kind of air capture or water capture, or they are called wind captures, which basically create water for you over time. Unlike the death stills, which I do actually have death stills as well, which I actually destroyed. Well, didn't destroy them. I kind of dismantled them and got the resources back to build the ones actually outside, like we do in the deep desert. But I ended up putting them back again because I found when I do want to build water and I am here, it's faster to still do bodies as well. So I've got 3 at the moment. The plan is to have 4 of them, which if I get my building tool out, which I haven't got the right profile set at the moment, you can see I've got another one. This is where I'm going to put the other really big power point. This is where I put the other death still. I haven't put all of this storage place out yet. I haven't set it all out, although I put the top ones in, and obviously half built them. I actually need to get spice melange. So today we're going to be out in the deep desert, and we are actually going to be doing some spice harvesting. So that's one of today's things that we're going to be doing, effectively, as well as getting metal and also setting up the deep desert base, because I've not had a chance to do it. Because I was hoping to actually maybe do a little bit before the stream, but I never get the time. I always have great plans, but never always the time to quite execute them, or at least as much as I was thinking I might be able to do. So the whole idea is we'll actually duplicate exactly what we're making here, and we'll also duplicate it here as well. That'll mean that we've actually got 10 of the large, well, actually these are medium storage containers, but I still think they're large because they're the largest ones other than the container itself. And we'll have basically 10 on each side with however many. I've not even counted how many of these little smaller ones it's going to fit underneath, but we'll have 2 of those, and this will be essentially our container or our warehouse. Other than that, I don't think anything else has changed. Like, I spent most of my... Oh, actually, I see nothing else has changed. If we go to any of my actual water filling points, which we've got one over here, we'll also notice... I need to change my profile in a minute. We'll also notice how much water capacity we've now got. So I've now got just under 1 million. Now, the plan is to have 1 million. But I didn't quite have enough delirium in order to make the last large water container. So we've got now 9 large water containers underneath our warehouse, and I've got space for like the 10th one, but I just haven't had time in order to get the rest of the stuff to make the delirium. But I had it. So I also raided a base as well, which I also haven't mentioned. And I ended up getting a ton of resources. Actually, got absolutely a load of aluminium, which allowed me to make the actual water containers. Because if I didn't get the aluminium that I'd got from some other player who had decided to AFK, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Effectively, they gave me a massive boost full of metal that otherwise I would have had to have spent a long time having to manufacture and stuff. So I've kind of got a little bit ahead of where I was expecting to be for this stream, just because I ended up raiding a base and getting a ton of resources, which I was about to log off, and I thought I'll just go and check that base that looks like it had maybe been abandoned. I checked it and it had been abandoned, expecting it to be locked down, and it hadn't been. Effectively, the player, I'm not sure what they'd done, whether they had actually abandoned it or whether it, after a while, just let go of their ownership. But effectively, I went all the shields were down. I went in there and actually interacted with like a container. It just opened and I could see all the stuff in it. I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. So I went looking around to see if I could find where the I went to actually look around to see whether or not they had actually had a territorial unit there, because I just thought, well, either they have one that's like it's lost its ownership, or it's been destroyed and that's why everything's open. And I actually found the actual territorial unit actually open, so it lost its ownership. So I've got a feeling the person has dropped ownership. Bit weird, but maybe they decided they were going to quit and they just decided to drop ownership, and then if anyone came along and took stuff, help themselves to it. I literally ransacked the whole place and then took the whole base down for them. The nice person I am. I even took all their vehicles as well and shredded them. So I got all the rare resources as well. It wasn't anything special. We're talking T3 kind of buggy and T3 bike and stuff, so it's nothing really exciting, but hey ho, it's resources, and I put them to good use. So effectively, let me just change my profile because it's going to do a head in when I keep trying to do stuff and I keep getting weird things. Oh my god, my thing has just activated the bloody spice melange mode. That's what I get for like not setting my profile right. According to that, it's right. Oh, it's on the wrong friggin' thing. Oh. So yeah, that's what it looks like when you're in spice mode. And when you're in spice mode, you have many different enhancements. A lot of those will depend on what your skills are that you set up, which are obviously unique to how you set up your kind of character. Because some of them are to do with like flying. So I do actually have some flying skills that benefit from the spice melange. Not like flying this, but generally. We're going to set up the deep desert base because the I had to take it obviously all down on Sunday because the base kind of obviously, if I don't take it down, would have been wiped out yesterday. The Coronius event happens every Monday, kind of afternoonish, and I've not been in the game since then. Well, I actually have been in the game. I quickly bumped in for like about 30 minutes last night just to put the water on because, as you noticed, it's almost full, and that's just because I've gone back in to make sure that the passive filters were still running, and I was aware they're about to run out, so I put a couple more filters in to last another 24 hours. So it's almost full now, which is exactly where we need it so that we can build whatever we need to build, which is mainly metal at the moment because I've got wow, I've got like a lot. I effectively I'm going to need about 1200 plastinatium, which is going to use like over 1 million water, which that's a lot of water, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted the 1 million capacity with water, is so that I can put on the water when I'm not streaming or playing. Just make sure I've got filters in that cover the time period, and effectively we'll be getting water without too much effort. And then while we're actually on, if we need to, we can always top up using the death stills. Obviously, if we're using it to a massive extent, we're not going to be able to get it back that fast, but I swear his mode's just gone back to the beginning again. There's no way of cancelling it as well. It's really quite annoying. You ever set it off by mistake? Every time I've used it so far, I've always used it by mistake. Something's happened and it's triggered it and it's gone off, and yeah. I've not done it because I'm in a run of PvP and I need it to like survive or anything like that. It's all because I've hit the wrong button and it's hit the spice mode. I'm also going to need to quickly go back to Hagga Basin because I've just realised I don't have any of the blueprints with me. Luckily, I do always carry a spare ornithopter in my pocket, so I won't have to take this thing back. Hopefully there's no storm while I'm gone. And all the security for the actual container is also runs exactly the same as your vehicles. So effectively you can permission it to your friends and stuff like that, but effectively no one else will be able to access your container in the same way as they won't be able to access your vehicle unless you actually give them permission to. So that's another good thing I think with the actual base as well, is a long time ago, guilds used to complain about the fact that the current storage facilities didn't have locks, and they were finding they were having people stealing stuff, effectively. Stuff that was going missing, I suppose is the nicer way of putting it. And they had no way of knowing who was taking what. So I think now what this rally provides is a way for people to store stuff that they want to have safe, and effectively other people won't be able to have. What the hell is that? I think that's to do. So when you have an out of spice experience, you can sometimes experience hallucinations, which is what I'm assuming this is. It's kind of like your I don't know, hangover. Just in spice terms, it ends up being like hallucinations. I wonder if it goes to play scene now. It could go to a play scene once, because we're in the air, so it's just going a bit weird. And having trees growing out the ground, which is very weird. But it wouldn't surprise me if it goes to a cutscene. They do actually hint at it as well. When you go through the storyline, they do hint that if you have too much spice melange, you'll start seeing things. I just thought, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Something to like say in the narrative. I wasn't expecting to ever see anything. No cutscene. Thank God. I haven't got the time for cutscenes. Trying to get to places. That was very weird though. Cheese and stuff. It's probably lucky that I was actually in a ornithopter when it happened, because if that had happened when I was out with an ornithopter, it would have probably been a different experience again. Yeah, it does fit in here. It's a bit tight, but it fits. I say it's a bit tight. I've watched some other people fitting vehicles in, and they literally have a hanger like this. And they're literally like straddling over other vehicles and literally bumping their way through everything. need to work out where my right ones are, because I do actually have several different ones, but I want a very particular one that I've made, which this week I do need to make a copy of it, another proper copy of it, before I start doing all what I call the filler, because I normally filler it out, but what I've got with the blueprint at the moment is like the minimum amount of it in order to put the actual base down easier, because if you make it too fixed to any one location, it's actually a lot harder to put the actual bases down with the blueprint and for it to accept it, because there'll always be like an object that's poking in the way or stuff. So I've kind of developed a way of doing it so that you can always put the blueprint down and it accepts it a lot easier. That's all version 3s, which is not what I want. That's the big base. The big DD base that I will not be using anymore. I want the small one. Which... the small... DD refining. We can take that, but it's not actually the one. That is actually the one. So the DD refining version 1 is the second iteration of the one I actually want. DD refining there, version 1. Oh, that's the outpost. DD Orny outpost, that's the one I want. See, I don't have very many of those ones. Well, actually I do. Oh, I have more of the Orny ones. Okay, so I did make this the DD version, refining version 1. Now, had the changes not happened with the cargo, I probably would stayed with that over the version 3 DD Deep Desert one, only because that larger one, while it was good, there's so many materials you needed to build it, and you had to build it. It just took a while. Where the smaller one was just quick to put up, and it was smaller, and I could do everything out of it. Yes, it was cramped in comparison to the other one, but do you really need something that big? But now that I've got everything here, I don't really need anything more than just a place to store my stuff while I'm out there. So I'm going back to what my OG one was, which is what this is. And actually, now we've got quite a lot of them actually. So the reason why I was going to make more of them is because I actually didn't think I had as many as I have there. But actually, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I wonder if I've got a feeling I left my deep desert kind of stuff in the sense of like my spice mining stuff or harvesting stuff. I've got a feeling I left it in here. I don't know why. I just have a memory of me dropping it in here. And I could be wrong. My memory could be of me drop it in a big container, but I just half remember. Pretty sure I remembered putting it in one of those big containers, but it's not there, so it should be in a container. I just didn't want to like go all the way to DD just to find out actually I was right. I should have just checked quickly. So this shouldn't take us too long. Like, I'd say half an hour max-ish. It really shouldn't take long though, honestly. Not this OG out base. Like even my other base only takes an hour to put up. It's just that this one takes even less. And the only thing that's going to be in it is literally my carrier and any of the ornithopters I take out there at any point. I probably should have bought my assault copter, but that'll be alright. we'll need to scout the area anyway. If there's anything decent out there, then I might go get the assault one. You can always take the shortcut back to the base anyway, via the taxi. Which is what I was going to do when I realised that I had forgot to get the blueprint. I was going to shortcut back, but then I thought, actually, I do actually have an ornithopter. I could just go back in that. But, yeah. Should have probably have done the faster way, to be fair. At least, obviously, on the way, like, home. Coming back this way, you always have to have an ornithopter. The taxis are rarely there for, you know, if you're dire emergency and you don't have anything to get back. That's what they're rarely meant for. It's to get you back to civilization sort of thing. But for me, it's just one of my modes of transport back to my base. So last time I did this, it didn't take me very long at all, to be fair, on the weekend when I did it. The hardest part I had was remembering where to put everything and how to do it. I do need some scrap. Because one thing I need to do first, which is what I forgot to do last time, and I always went to forget to do it there, was I need to place the territorial unit. But not this one, the advanced one. That in the corner. Six. Go. It still does take me a couple of times sometimes to place this down, purely because I can't see all of the red while I'm here, and I've noticed when I do place it down sometimes, it doesn't come out of anything until after I place it down, or go to try and place it down at least. Which is a bit annoying, but so I always try now and place this as far away as I can out here, and let's move it up one. It's not letting me place it up. I reckon that's going to go no. Is it going to let me place it? Confirm placement. Oh, it is. Oh, I'm surprised. First go. Ha ha ha. I'm liking it. Normally, like, it takes you 3 or 4 times to get it to go down, because even when you place it and there's no, it says nothing's blocked, you press it and it goes, something's blocked. What did you tell me before I fucking went to start placing it? It's like it finds something. It's like it does it for the building, and then it does stuff inside the building. And because I've got all the generators at the bottom, it obviously does it for the building, and then says, no, you've got a generator that's got a rock going into it or something. It's like, but why could you just set that when I'm placing the actual building down? It's like a double confirmation, but the second confirmation checks for like the contents as well, which it doesn't seem to necessarily do when it does the initial part. So first thing first, build the large container. Well, medium container. I keep calling it large, but it's medium. Let's get the silicon. Helps. And then all we need to do then is just move our stuff from the real hustler cargo container. Of course. I was messing around with Dave's. Don't slate me. Okay, we'll move all the stuff. So all this stuff is the stuff that should be needed to make the base, because this is all the stuff that came out of it. So, and it's exactly the same as the one I took apart on Friday. I'm pretty sure it is. Actually, there should even be a few more extra things there, other than obviously the ones I've actually put in the base, but... Okay, let's start getting this down. And it's a case of just filling in. It's the weirdest game ever, I guess, in this way. Like, I love these blueprints, but at the same time, it's such a weird concept. But it's because of, like, obviously how they want you to play the game. They don't want people to keep a deep desert or keep stuff in a deep desert. They want to be able to reset it. So obviously they've come up with a novel way for you to every week have to take down your base and then put your base back up, or at least like a base of operations. Obviously you can have up to 3 bases in Dune Awakening as well. So what that means is you can have your deep desert base as well as your base in Hagga Basin, and then one other base. So yeah, effectively you could maybe have 2 bases in deep desert. I couldn't see why you'd have 2 bases in like Hagga Basin, or that you could do. You're probably going to find it maybe more useful to have 2 bases out here if you were going to have 2 bases out here. Like, personally, I don't think you need any more than 1 base in one main area, and there's only like 2 areas really, Hagga Basin in here. So for me, I only need 2, and I couldn't really see the complete point in having more than that, unless I was doing something that was, say, maybe out in the PvP area, like in the far sort of, I'd say like Rose 9 and stuff, where we do have some island areas out there where you could build a base, and you could have like a PvP base out there where you could have respite. That might be a use. Like, I don't know, personally, it's not something I would do, but it's something I could see being maybe useful depending on the circumstances. Oh, that was a bad place, Lou. Look at that. There's a freaking rock on the bloody ramp. Can't move any of this now. Just have to put up with it this week. That's going to really do my head in. I forgot that there was a rock here if I moved too far in. I didn't run into any issues on last week when I placed it. Totally forgot about that rock though. It does sometimes get in the way. We're actually building at a perfect time as well, because if you're going to build, the evening is kind of like the best time to build, because you don't have to deal with the bursting sun, and well, as long as you've got enough water, it doesn't really matter too much. It is nice just to do it in the evening when dusk's out, and you can just merrily put out your building and not have to worry about burning through your water supply too fast. We'll get rid of those 2 smaller containers because I won't be building them. They're obviously part of the OG kind of blueprint part of this, but I don't actually need the small ones anymore. I'll just have the one big one, and obviously we've got the container. So the container, well, the container is our lifeline now these days. The container is literally what makes all of this like effortless in comparison to what it used to be like, where you have to do several trips just to bring all your resources out. Or I actually found it, my issue wasn't actually bringing stuff out here, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, you might do 2 or 3 trips, but you don't feel it so much when you're bringing stuff out here, because that is the point. When you're bringing stuff out here, because when you build your base at the start of the week, you'll build up your initial resources and like stuff that you would have built out to build up your base, but there'll be stuff that you generally bring out during the week, and then when you're shipping it back along with all the stuff and the resources that you've gathered out while you've been in Deep Desert, you end up with tons of stuff. So the amount of times I've ended up having to go back with like 6 or more trips just to take everything back, it's just beyond a joke. So the cargo container now is like, it's so nice. It makes coming to the Deep Desert a nice experience. So if that ever put you off before, well, all I can say is there was light at the end of the tunnel when they said they were going to bring in the cargo to container. It's come out and it has done exactly what everyone was hoping it would do, and provide you now with that storage and mechanic to be able to bring stuff in and out of the Deep Desert with ease and not have to do a million trips. You can now just do it in the one trip with the one container. The only downside is if you're new and you haven't yet got to the end game, or if you've got to the end game but you still don't have much resources, you're going to need to start burning through and start doing tons of spice mining and stuff like that, because you're going to need to have plenty of plastinatium. You're going to need plenty of spice melange, because you're going to need to make the carrier and the actual container itself, which at the very start is going to be quite, demanding on resources, until obviously you get it all set up. Once it's all set up, you're laughing, because then you're in a really strong place. But up to that point, it can be a bit painful. I don't know, because obviously I kind of preempted a lot of this myself, so I went for the other pains of like just bad mechanics at the start of the game. Well, at the start of this game. And to be fair, most games do have teething issues, things that they expect to work in certain ways, and then you realize that actually, players don't quite like it like that, and that they should have built in something that would worked better, which is where the container came in. Obviously, they still haven't sorted the Deep Desert or end game issues out, but one step at a time. We're slowly heading in the right direction, I would say myself. And as long as you're heading in the right direction, that's always a positive. These are like my landing lights. If you wonder why I put lights here, it's just like, I just like lights. And you get so many lights, so I just like decided to use all of the allocations I could for the size of the base. So even though it looks like those shields are up, they're actually not up yet, because I don't actually have any power going at the moment. So they only look like they're up because I've got my building thought out. As soon as I kind of pocket it, it would all look as if it as it would when it's kind of all down. And what I mean by that is like, look at that, and then as soon as I put that in, that's what it's actually like to everyone else, because none of the shields are actually up yet. I have to put the generators down for them to go up, and enough of them down and filled with batteries, which I have obviously tons of. Every time I go out gathering, I end up with a load of batteries. I do try to not pick them up unless I'm actually trying to go out for them, but I do special, dedicated runs for them as well. Not enough support. I really find this weird that you don't get any support from the foundations. Like these are not being supported by the foundations, they're being supported by here. Doesn't really make much sense. Not to me, it doesn't. It's like, surely it'd be supported by the foundation that it's next to, rather than an overhanging part that comes down weirdly at a weird angle. I don't know. It's how they made it. Who am I to argue? And if you can, the gaps I was mentioning before about like the gaps I've purposely left out so that the space goes down easier, you can see all of these gaps here. All these gaps that are here are so that it goes down easy. it took me a while to work out what was the best way to make blueprints or buildings ready for blueprints. Unless you're putting your building down on a flat surface all the time, you really do need to think about how you're making your blueprint when you're making a blueprint for these bases, because if you don't, you will run into issues trying to place the blueprint down. It will say an object's in the way, and it will normally be like the slightest bump or a rock that's in the way. And if you build them with foundations, the foundations can't go below the surface level. So if it's not perfectly flat and part of it does, and you're trying to put it down at a certain level, you won't be able to, and you'll be forced to make it larger maybe than it needs to, or put in false block plates, which it will automatically do if you try to place it down and you don't have the right level. It will try and help you and place blocks down. But the best thing to actually do is, when you're making your blueprint to start with, is make it so that it has plenty of little voids in it, places where if you've built it for a particular area, that basically give it just a little bit more freedom and allowance for it to accept the blueprint in this situation easier. And that's what I've done with this one. Their satchel out base that's meant for the deep desert will probably only really go here very easily, because I made it for here. Now, I've made it for here, and it is very good for here. Because obviously, as you've seen today, it went down straight away. I didn't run into any issues. Sometimes I do have a couple of issues, and that's just when I'm placing it down. Like I said, it seems to register like the outside shell before it registers these, which are generators, facilities essentially. And I think when you go to place it the first time as a kind of, I don't know, provisional place, it does a check and says, are there any objects that are, are there any foundations below certain rock levels or anything like that? Are all the edges within the land that the person has, etc.? Does all those checks and says, okay, yes. And that's where you do your first yes. I think the second yes, which is why I keep sometimes running into, is it then checks, is there anything in the building that is being blocked by something? And I think that's what the second placement was. I always thought the second placement was just for you to confirm that you are happy where it was. But I found that sometimes on a second placement, any of these objects can become red. And they don't, while they will go red when you go to do the first placement, it will let you do that first placement, but it won't let you follow through and commit the actual blueprint into building it until you've resolved those issues, which means you then have to cancel it and retry to replace it again. So, bit weird, but it's one of those things that you'll get used to. It's not too hard. Just be a bit mindful. Like when you're placing it down, just try and look. Like mine's a bit awkward to see everything, which is why sometimes I run into the issue. Because these aren't the easiest things to see because there's a massive rock in the way, unfortunately, for where I've put it. But if you've got clear view, just make sure you don't have anything red in your building when you're actually going to place it. Because even if it does let you place it the first time, it won't let you commit the placement, and you'll be hitting your head against a rock effectively. If you keep trying to force it, it just won't let you. So these are the slight modifications I made, well, that I usually now make, which I should have all of the resources to do. It lets me switch that to inner. I've got the inner and outer switched way around because I like the silver on the outside. Very vanity, I know, but to be fair, like this, it looks nice on the silver on the inside out here. And the only time I'm never in there, other than when I set up the base and make sure I've got the right number of generators, I never go in there. So yeah, the only thing I need to do there is put a roof on. That. And I just need to put some power now in the base. So we'll get some batteries, which will switch from the cargo container. We don't really need that many, because obviously we're only here for like a maximum of like, well, the maximum you can be out here is 7 days, because it's going to reset exactly in 7 days time from when the actual last Chronionis event was, and that was a day ago. So the maximum I would need now is 6, because if I don't take it down before 6, it's gone anyway. Gone into the ethos. So we'll fill up these generators, and we've got 10 days, which is way more than enough. So we'll move all of our stuff now inside. So we'll be able to move our storage container that we've built, and this, which I'll just move this into this corner over here. And then we'll go and get that other container, mark that in the corner. And then we're done. It's as easy as that, literally. There is actually a few more blocks that I could place on the outside, which I'll probably do off stream. What I call the aesthetic blocks. Just like, if you were to look at it, to me, because I'm kind of like very anal about some of these things, like ADHD level anal. Yeah, I look at some things and I just find it a bit annoying if it's like not quite level, or there's like blocks missing and it's hanging a bit. Like I like it to look as if it's actually foundationally safe, and not just that the game lets me do it. Okay, that'll do. And then we'll move our big carrier container in there using the carrier, because there's pretty much no other way of doing it. You can actually push it pretty well actually with a buggy, which I don't actually have with me right now, but buggies are pretty they've got a lot of like leverage and pushing power, and they can push them with virtually no effort in comparison to a bike, because I've tried it for a bike as well, and the bike does struggle. Like, it can move it, but not very well. If you're trying to do fine adjustments, I would say use the bike. Otherwise, use a buggy if you're trying to push it around your base. Oh, don't drop it on the edge. Christ. Trying to like put it so it's close to the wall. Oh, I think that's on the ramp. Oh, I'm having a mare. Come on. I do. I think it's inside, isn't it? Yeah, it looks close enough. Okay, we'll put this down. And that's us set up in the DD. Might be hanging out a little bit, but that shouldn't be causing any damage. We can always check. If you come to here, you can see decay and it says safe. If it says that, you're sorted. Even if it looks like it's hanging out, you'll notice that sometimes you'll ornicopter the wings and things like that. Sometimes it will, as long as like the majority of your vehicle is actually in the actual shield, you're normally safe. But if you're ever unsure, just check and you'll know whether or not it's not. But that is safe for us, so we're good on that. Now, I'll just move this in. Like, I could have just zapped this, to be fair, but I'm going to go and fly it in a minute anyway, probably. Because I just want to get my stuff out, so we'll need that and that. Oh, I now know what I remember I left. Why do I always remember these things as I see things? I go, Now I remember what I left in there. We'll need to go back to the Hagga Basin. The part that I actually need is the spice wand, as I call it. Or the sand wand. It's the sand compressor. I have my own language for these tools. Okay, well, may as well put that in here. I'll put that here, and we'll keep that here. We'll take them back because they're meant for the Hagga Basin anyway. I won't be having them out here anymore. I've got no need for them. As we can see, this base, that base there is your like out base, and that literally allows you then to operate out the deep desert. And whether you're doing the testing stations, whether you're doing spice harvesting, or if you're just doing like your metal harvesting, then that's like your base of operations to do that from. Now I will bring my buggy out here probably on Thursday, so I'll have it out here by the time we do the next stream, and we'll do some metal harvesting on Thursday stream. We'll do like one run because I don't want to bore you guys too much with just seeing me do metal harvesting, which isn't the most fun if I'm honest, but it's a necessity you have to do when you're trying to build like what I'm building at the moment, because I'm building all the highest tier things, and all the highest tier things generally want a lot of material, but also you've got to like do a lot of grind to get them as well, which is no different than any game. So we'll go back, we'll get a spice wand, the spice wand that I need, because I need the one that's got less worm aggro, so we don't disturb the worm a huge amount, although we'll still get plenty of worms, so don't be disappointed if you've come to watch worms. You'll see plenty of them. They love me. But we'll get that, and I will also bring out the assault ornithopter as well, because I think we'll try and see if we can find a medium spice field in the PvE area, which means I can then use the assault ornithopter. If we do get forced though to, I will need to swap probably back then to a scout ornithopter, and we'll go out into the PvP areas. If you wonder why I don't use the assault ornithopter out in the PvP areas, it's mainly for attack and defense purposes. It's very easy to defend in a scout ornithopter, even with like 0 kind of missiles or anything like that, because he's effectively the weakest or most vulnerable point you are in it, like PvP situation out in the deep desert, is when you're on the sand and you're doing the main harvesting. When you're actually in the air, if you're in a scout ornithopter, you're safe. Like, as long as you can get in the ornithopter, get in the air, there shouldn't be any reason why you can't escape the situation if you're literally just there and not set up for having PvP. But if obviously you do want a PvP, I'd still say your best chances is in the scout ornithopter, unless they are soloing, which, to be fair, I suppose like there's a mixture of groups that some people do it solo, some people do it like in groups. I'd say more people do it in groups than to do it solo. So if you're going to be attacked, generally speaking, you'll probably just want to get out of there, because if you are being attacked, you're going to be attacked by a group, and even in an assault ornithopter, if there's more than one person, you're going to be dead. It's like the likelihood of you surviving two players in an assault ornithopter is very unlikely, unless they're crap. Like, I mean that, like, they would have to be rubbish players to have a 2-on-1 situation and not kill you. And your ornithopter, which is it's actually the ornithopter the more after, because it's like bragging rights to kill someone else's ornithopter, which is to a lot of players it's the lifeblood. It's only when you get to the stages I'm at where if I lost like 5 ornithopters, it really wouldn't affect me that much. More time having to like build the things, but yeah, I've got more than enough resources to easily recover all of that stuff, and I don't find it hard to get any of the resources either. So once you've got to my level of kind of having all the facilities and a good setup for being able to do everything, if you lose stuff, it's not major. It's the thing with this game is like, and the part that I don't quite understand why people are so scared of the PvP side of it is because, actually, I think it's in this one, isn't it? Yeah, this one. It's because like everything's so easily recoverable in this game. Where if you play like a game like Rust, if your base gets attacked, which can be attacked at any point, there's no safeguards, there's no like shields or anything like that. It's like anyone can attack you at any point. Obviously they can defend, and there's offline and onlines and stuff like that. Tons of different referrals and stuff. Can you tell? Like, I know quite a bit about Rust, even though I don't play it, by the way. So don't think I'm a Rust player or have been. Never played it. I've just watched quite a lot of it, and I actually find it really interesting to watch, especially with the good narrators that can do a good storyline with it and get you going along with it. And I sometimes just I'll be there actually playing a game and just have the game on in the background as I'm listening to like what happened that week, because they'll have some like bigger thing that happened that week, and yeah, their whole narrative of what's going on and all the nail biting moments. Some of them are really, really good at doing it all and drag me right into it. I find it pretty fascinating. Take it. Oh, that was a fail. That was a fail, Lou. Come on. We failed to reset. Didn't actually meant to press it. Come on, get in. No, I wouldn't. The key wouldn't register then. Oh, I didn't take... Oh, I do need to get one of the ornithopters. You should always as well have an ornithopter in your back pocket. It's my best advice I could possibly give you, is always make sure you have a spare ornithopter in your ship recovery tool. Or your vehicle recovery tool, should I say. Not ship recovery tool. There is actually a video of me where I was live hit by a sandworm. Well, actually not hit by a sandworm. I was hit by a flying ship. So the myth, or some players you may have heard or may not have heard, being hit by an ornithopter fly, or a downed ship essentially, coming down and hitting their ornithopter and taking your ship out. Now, I'd heard about it and thought, yeah, I can't see that being real. It's like, what's the chances of that happening? And it happened to me live on a stream, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it literally destroyed the very front of the ornithopter and made it so that you can't fly it. So I was literally out in the middle of the desert. I didn't have a vehicle in my ship recovery tool, and I wasn't more bothered about that, if I'm honest. I was more bothered by the fact that I didn't want to lose my ornithopter, because it was this ornithopter. It was like my assault ornithopter. And I was like, well... And at that point, I was still in a bit of a fragile place, only because the week before, I'd also lost my deep desert base because I forgot to take it down during a Corneas event, literally the week before. And I was in recovery mode, trying to get all my resources back so I could rebuild everything. So I had a big spice refiner out there. I had the large ore refiner out there. I lost a lot of resources when that base went down into the ethos of nowhere, and effectively had to try and recover it all. But as part of that recovery, I decided I was actually going to try and show people what it would be like if you didn't have the resources back in your Hagga Basin and had to do everything from scratch. So I literally ground everything back up. I started off with the small spice refinery, went back up to the medium spice refinery before getting to large, and slowly worked my way up to show how painful it can be. But I also wanted to find out, because I was quite curious, how long would it take an experienced player who knows how to do everything to recover from it if they had to, because they did what I did. Now the difference is that I actually had resources that I could have recovered, and I could have just instantly put up another big spice refiner. But I was very curious as to how long it would take to grind back through and get that stuff again. So I did that. It took me effectively 27 hours. So in 27 hours, and that is 27 hours on a stop clock. So every time I stopped and started the timer. So the 27 hours is an exact period. It's not like if you were playing the game for like a day and a half, or a day and a bit, and I mean like a full day and a bit instead of 24 hours, a day and a bit, you would get it back. No, it's the full 27 hours. So if you clocked on and then burnt through it and did that over a number of days until you got to 27 days, or 27 hours to say, that's how long it would take you to do it, which I actually think is actually really reasonable. I actually expected it to be longer than that, but then I actually also got excited thinking I could do it in under a day, because I was hoping to do a YouTube video of like how you can do it in under a day. But in the way I did it, it took me more than that. Now, obviously, having done it now, I realized that I could easily do it probably in under the 24 hours, because there were certain things while I was doing loads of things efficiently, there were a number of things I wasn't doing very efficiently as well. So the things I could have improved on, and yeah, effectively, if I was to do it again, then I would kind of roughly know now what I would probably do differently, just to make things a little bit more easier. I am going to strip most of this stuff off, just because there's no need to lose it if I do get eaten by a worm. Not that I'm going out there to be eaten by a worm, but you never know. I also don't have a huge power pack. That's actually no power packs there. That's spendable. That's not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I'll be going out just like this. Minimal amount of stuff. I've got one of these just in case we do see a down ship and we can go out and grab the resources from it. Down ships do give you some of the nicest resources sometimes from it, and you can, if you're lucky enough, you can get some good blueprints from them as well. Very obviously, it's random on what blueprints you get from them. I tell you what, the blueprint that makes this came from a down ship, and so did this one from a down ship. I do have a few more items from this actual set. However, the one that I actually want, which is the leggings, I don't have. Once I get the leggings, then I've pretty much sorted for that, and all I need to then do is have some light armor hands and light armor legs. PvP players do tend to have heavy armor chest and heavy armor legs, and then they'll go light armor, light armor, light armor for both the head, feet, and hands. I've gone heavy for the head, and that's just because I actually really like the look of the helmet. Yeah, I know. I'm going with looks over functionality, maybe. The reason why they mixed them is effectively you get buffs, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to counter buffs that are in this armor. So this armor here has some buffs that aren't very good for your stamina. So what they try and do is counter them with some stamina bonuses that you get from the light armor. So this kind of does minus damage. Well, minus kind of stamina. So dash stamina cost plus 75 is bad, because you want more stamina, not less, and that's going to cost you more stamina for every time you dash, and dash is kind of like dodging in this game. So the more obviously of these heavy pieces you've got, the more stamina dash cost you're getting against it. And that's kind of why people don't tend to like having a full set of the heavy armor, which I agree with. But when you get the light armor, you get the opposite buffs. So that's why they have the heavy armor for the legs and the chest, because they're the two biggest armor points that you can get the most armor from. And then the remaining armor, they decide to go with the light armor, because you can get some really nice buffs, not just the stamina buffs, but you can also get really nice other buffs as well from the light armor, which is why they kind of mix them apart, because you can also get something like Lifebringer or something else as a like 2 buffs on top of that. So yeah, it just depends. Like at the moment I've just got some standard stuff mixed in with like high tier 6 stuff, and obviously high tier 6 kind of art, like guns and stuff. All right, let's go find a spice field. Oh, that fuel looks a bit low. Oh, I don't have. Yeah, okay, we'll just have to. We'll have to manage that a little bit, I guess. I should have a look at my just while we start hovering, I'm just going to have a quick look at my intel to see whether or not it's been updated, which it will have been updated, but I just want to see where they think the fields are, or where they've been reported this week, because it's not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea where to start looking. Unless we see something like that, which lets us know. So we'll head towards that one, but that might be out a bit far. That looks like it's a medium though, because it's still going. If it is a small, it would only like burst, and then once it bursts, the actual like blue purple stuff above it dissipates pretty fast. So you can tell a difference between like a medium and a small one pretty fast, because it starts off very similar, I'd say, but very fastly that like purple cloud that's around it at the moment would have dissipated, which the fact that that one's still up means that I'm pretty confident that that's a medium. And don't worry, while I am registering PvP there, that's because I've just gone over a Landsrad event, little hub that down there. If you're going near those, they will turn you in the same way as if you go down to one of the big ships, or fly over one of those big ships, you'll go into PvP. That's in Hagga Basin, no matter where you are in the game. There are certain PvE areas that you can be in, and you'll still have PvP areas that if you go too close to them, you'll go into. Like, it doesn't really bother me. It's like, what's the chances that someone tries to take me out while I'm in a 30-minute window, or 30-second window, not 30-minute window, going over somewhere that's not really PvP, but it's just kind of a PvP area. And the Landsrads and stuff are PvP areas because obviously they want people to contest it. So effectively you can have like PvP stuff that goes on there, but very rarely, like especially now, do you see anything going on those Landsrad areas. Unless people are literally trying to get it for the first go. Well, like we're day 2 into it now, so probably people have already fought over that one if they are contesting it. I need to get this out or not. I'm not sure whether this could be in the PvP area. I'm not sure how far out that will be. So that's A, B, C, D, E. So it might be on the edge. I'm hoping it is a medium because it's going to save me a ball like having to find one. I'm hoping no one's obviously already harvested on it, and I'm hoping also that it's on the halfway mark, which I think it is. Because if it's on the halfway mark, it means it's in the PvE area, and then I don't have to worry about people trying to gank me when I'm harvesting. Soon find out. Oh, we're on the other side of it, and we still haven't changed, so we are good. Is there anyone down here? Nope. We look like it's untouched. It's the perfect one. Untouched and in the PV area. So we'll make a start. God, this is the first time I've done any spice harvesting in a long time. I've had that much of it for a long time and not known what to do with it until I've obviously built everything now in the Hagga Basin, and it's literally just eating it, because obviously it requires twice the amount that you require when you're actually out in the deep desert. So the fact that I've got everything now and it's all in Hagga Basin is amazing, but it's cost me a lot to do it. And it's the same with the metal, really. If you also wondered why I did change as well into this, obviously I put a still suit on. The still suit's more about trying to keep a little bit more of the water so that you don't quite lose as much. And obviously you do get heat buffs as well. That means that you don't, if you're out in, when you're out in the sun, you'll take less kind of heat damage from the sun. Unless you're going to stand under your ornacop the whole time, you're going to have to just get used to the fact that you're going to send just like sun meter to max, and it's easy just to accept that you will go into it and you'll just have to put up with it. Isn't, I suppose, the best way to describe that. Oh, I didn't put all my stuff in here. Oh well. Let's hope I don't get eaten. Obviously keep an ear out for that worm. So you can see in the very middle of the screen is like a meter, which has kind of like a, when I walk, it changes from like the line to vibrations, or what represents vibrations. That's kind of worm aggro. When I've been on the field for so long and the aggro keeps building up. Now you can reset the aggro, it's possible to do that, but you would have to get off the ground and stay off the ground for quite a while and go away and come back to reset the aggro. It's easier just to let the aggro in the worm come, which will happen slower with what I'm wearing, because here we go, here's a worm. And it's a good idea to keep your ornithopter pretty close to you these days, because the worm does spawn right on top of you. Although apparently they have changed the mechanics, so apparently the worm doesn't spawn as close to you anymore, because some people found that the worm did actually spawn up on them. So they literally came and it was literally coming out on top of them. It happened to me once where that happened, but not as bad as some people have described. Some people have said it literally came out and it almost killed them as it came out, because now if the worm touches you, you'll be dead. When they first developed it and had the game, the worm would only kill you if it managed to eat you at the very front. Now, if you touch the side of the worm or anything, you'll be dead. They've made it so that people couldn't effectively, as they called it, play with the worm. Because if people were bugging the worms out, effectively, they were doing weird things with them and causing them to like come out the sand and do some weird stuff. So effectively they changed the mechanics and said, okay, well, now if you touch the worm or the worm touches you in any way and not just be in front of its mouth, you will still be dead. Which was fair enough, because then it stopped the people who were messing around with the worms. Although I think if you build your building in such a way that the worm can come up through it which you will probably have seen YouTube videos from way back in the day. If they still do that, I think you might still be okay. It really depends, I suppose, on exactly how you placed your overhanging part of the building that allows that to happen. And if you're wondering how those people also get, that's a worm. But that's a worm that's come right on top of us. But I'm actually safe at the moment, because unless we see that red aggro, it won't actually be coming for me, although it just did. Once they start, they come quite a bit. Eventually, the cloud will dissipate, which looks like it has actually. That worm's just gone back underneath. A lot of times I've like gone up, come back down, the aggro's gone, but the worm goes right underneath you. It's so disturbing. Because it's like, should I run, or should I like take back off again? It's like, or just stay here. Like I got used to it now. Generally, like you're perfectly safe as long as that aggro meter for the worm is like not red. You'll be all right. But do try to stay within a reasonable distance if you're on a copter, because they do have changed the worm mechanics quite a bit. And even though they have got the worm spawning further away from you now more consistently, the speed at which the worm comes at you does vary. So sometimes it will come at you very slow and very fast, or very slow or very fast. If it comes at you very slow, that will be more like it used to be all the time, because it used to take ages for the worms to come to you. So effectively what players would do is they would get the aggro and give it a minute, and then they would go up in their ornithopter, because they would know it would take about a minute for the worm to get to them. So they know they could carry on for a little bit and carry on harvesting. Obviously time's money, etc. And in Dune, that money really effectively is this stuff. Like this is the most valuable stuff in the game, for obvious reasons. And yeah, they effectively wanted to control how it's all being distributed. So they changed quite a bit of it, and how the worms act and all this stuff to try and make it a bit more random, because the worms were easy to guess what was going to happen. And by it being either long or short, it forces players to just act straight away rather than having to think, oh, well, I've still got another minute. And to be fair, back when it was like that, like I have done it whilst it was under the old way of doing it. But I've also done it like the new way as well. And most of the harvesting I've done is since they've made the changes. But I did do it under the old way for probably about a couple of weeks before they changed it to the current way it works, although the worms are slightly different again. And I do actually prefer it a bit more random than it just being completely predictable. Although, to be fair, the first week I was a bit nervous because you knew you had more time, you felt more comfortable, and I felt more comfortable, and I got comfortable with that. So when I heard that they were changing it so that sometimes it might come within like 10 seconds, sometimes it might take a minute to come to you, I was like, well, that's not nerve-wracking if nothing else was nerve-wracking. Yes, and if you can tell, like I'm doing all the outside edges now. Realistically, if you're doing this for the maximum efficiency, which most of my games I generally do, but when it comes to like spice harvesting, one of my bad traits as well as a human being is I am obsessed with like not completing things, but wanting to do it properly. And I just see it as if I just did the very center part, which there's more it's more concentrated at the very middle. So where it's really dark in the middle and the closest to that, you get a lot more spice sand than you do when you're at the outside edges. But I just see the outside edges and think, well, yeah, okay, you don't get that much, but you still get something from it. And I just like want to like get the whole lot. So yeah, I do tend to like fill my whole ornithopter and generally do the whole lot of it, which nowadays, even with the 2000 that the assault ornithopter can carry, is a couple of trips. Which is why I like the assault ornithopter UHF, because if I was to do this in a scout ornithopter, it's more than a couple of chips. It's a lot of chips. Before they made some of the recent changes, though, it did get to the stage where you could seem to do the whole field in almost just one assault ornithopter, and that's before they made the 1000 change. I'm not sure if they have made some changes to stuff, but yeah, just something I noticed. Like, I think like about 2 months ago when they made some changes. I put some more funky music on because it's I don't know. This is a different game. The other music I had on was from Assassin's Creed. This is from a game that you might be able to guess. If you can guess what the game's from, I will sub you a month on Twitch if you can guess what it's from. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're not actually on Twitch and you do play this game, I would highly recommend you do get on Twitch. You also register your account that you're a Doom player, and you can get Doom drops. Basically, that's free content that is available. Costs you nothing other than actually watching people like myself, streamers who stream it and have drops enabled on their stream, and it allows you to get the free content that is available. It's a partnership between the game and Twitch. So there is a campaign that's running up until today. So today is the final day. It's the 14th. Actually, no, tomorrow is the final day. It's the 14th. So you've still got another day after today if you do want to get that content. But if you are looking to do this and you haven't done this yet, make sure you get some soft step boots, which are the shoes I picked up. It doesn't really matter really what you wear. Like I said, I normally grab an old still suit that's lying around somewhere. Like I got another spare one when I raided that person's base the other day, which was, I thought, nice and useful. I thought that was nice to have. Because it's not more like if I get eaten by a sandworm, it's more like when I get eaten by a sandworm. I actually haven't been eaten like while doing spice harvesting, but like there's always going to be a first time where you push it a bit too far and leave it a bit too long and end up getting caught out and eaten by a sandworm. It's not even so bad these days, because if you were to be eaten by the sandworm and it also got your ornithopter, you can get the ornithopter back through your sheep recovery tool. Yes, you will get some degradation loss or durability loss, but the fact you get it back is a big change in comparison to when the game first came out and you didn't. Oh crap. I was in the wrong seat. I'm lucky that was a slow burner to me, because my ornithopter kept moving and it wouldn't select the ornithopter to let me get in it to fly it. It's moments like that where you can get caught out. I've actually had a computer freeze when that's happened before as well, and I almost got eaten by a worm as well. So there are occasions when even the most experienced player doing this can easily be caught out by just the randomest things happening at the wrong time. a clue for the music is there is a series out as well, which narrows down. Like, I'm actually giving you the biggest clue ever now. So if you like your gaming and also like TV series, you should pretty much know what it is, because this music being in it and the fact that, you know, it's a game, you know, there's a TV series, really narrows it down, pretty much like Dune Awakening itself. Obviously this isn't Dune Awakening. Yeah, really, the whole reason why I normally play the Assassin's Creed is because that music's quite deserty music and like Arabic type music, so it kind of feels like, to me at least, the right vibe for Dune Awakening. There's also an advantage as well. If you leave stuff in the ornithopter and you do get eaten, the stuff that's in the ornithopter, when you get it back off your ship recovery tool, will also be recovered with your ornithopter. Which is why I'm leaving it all in the ornithopter in case I do get eaten. Because I'll at least get it back. Where anything that's on you, if you get eaten, will be lost. Literally every single item on you will be gone. The only thing you might get from the experience is a worm tooth, which you can make a dagger out of. Which is actually a pretty decent dagger. But it's only a one-use dagger. Literally, you can stab one person once. It will instantly kill them because it has such a high DPS. But also at the same time, it breaks. There's a MMORPG bar there, the little mouse. You can actually shoot that with a gun, and you can get a... I think it's called a mouse's corpse when you actually kill it. I've only ever done it once. I was just curious to actually whether you could kill it. And I had seen like mouse corpses on the market once or twice where players have gone to sold them. And wondered how they got them. And I then realised how. I have tried like zapping it with like the compactor, but it doesn't do anything. Looks like he just carries on going out there in a line. Like, I'm not going out there because I don't think it does. I think that's just like a slight mirage. Although it does make a sand pile. I was waiting for that. I was like, it's well overdue. Where are you? Why do they have glowing insides? I'm pretty sure they don't in the films. To be fair, like these sandworms are very different to any of the other sandworms. They're quite unique in this game. Even like the main picture of a sandworm in comparison to the one that's in the game is a bit different. I actually do like it more like the ones that they've got in the game. And if you've ever seen some of the players, or because there's like a comedy almost sketch one of one YouTuber who does all like the funnies with worms, and there's ones where you can see like the worms deciding whether to eat them or not. It looks down at the person, then looks up. Like, I'm not sure if this is AI'd. It could easily be an AI'd or like not photoshopped, but like premiered video like manipulation effectively. But so I'm not sure if it is actually in game. If it is in game, I would have loved to experience that, because like a worm would just look down at you and go, nah, and it actually turns around and goes the other way, and it's like, what the hell? I'm sure that's just a kind of AI meme or something. At some point, I will actually make a sand caller. I haven't up to this point, mainly because I'm not confident enough at the moment using the carrier to pick up things fast enough. And while I know you can get stuff back, you still lose durability every time you lose anything to the sandworm and have to use the actual recovery tool, or even if you lose it, like something to another player. So I'm just kind of like not confident at doing it until I can actually get to the point where I know I can get away and have a good chance of getting away from the sandworm. At the moment, if I was to attract a sandworm with the sound caller, I feel I would be worm food very fast. I wouldn't be getting away. In total, from what you get from a medium spice field, is you should end up with about 18,000 units altogether, which you won't get obviously in just one run. So even in your assault helicopter, you'll only be able to get two-thirds of it in your helicopter on the first run, and then get the remainder on the second. But yeah, these medium spice fields are more than enough to at least satisfy you, get enough if you've got a large spice refiner, which is all you need. You like, at the end of the day, you can only do 10,000 runs anyway, so even if you were to hit one medium field and get everything from that field, you'd still need to hit two fields, because you need 10,000 units before you're able to put a run on your harvest or your refiner. And obviously you need water as well, so make sure you obviously have water, but that's, a given. You need water for everything. This game is like water dependent. Nothing happens without it. Expecting the worm any minute, just as I said it. It's almost like clockwork, worms. You see it go. Oh, there it is. It's like the aggro meat is already gone. It's like, where's the worm? Expected to dash underneath me. I prefer doing the edges like I've just after I've had a worm, just because the worm's aggro is obviously going to be at its lowest at that point, so it's unlikely to trigger straight away. Although me doing a big line like that's not going to help. Too far away. Dude, we're getting like hardly any rally, but me being me, it's just like I can't see purple sand and not want to go for it, even if I know there's hardly anything in it. In comparison to like, so if we get one from here, we got like about 15 in one of those there. If you pick one up here from where it's way more concentrated, 84. So it's like big difference. That's why some players will literally only just do the very middle and then leave the rest of the field. So you'll have the middle that's been heavily eaten, and then like the edges parts they've left, so you kind of got a circle where they haven't gone out to. Which I feel that's a waste. My fuel is halfway now, I think. I'm not going to stay out too much longer. But we are very close now to having enough to do a refining run. So I might go back to Hagga Basin, go and get some more fuel, and when we get the fuel we can drop this off and get a spice run harvesting. Is that finished? Why are you making noises? Is that another one? There's two of them. I can see if there's a marker on the at the very top of the screen. You'll notice there's like a compass. There was actually two worm warning signs then going off at the same time. The one obviously that was coming for us, but there's another one which is obviously what I was hearing. I get disturbed by that, even when I don't see a worm aggro sign, because I don't know whether the mechanics are messing up. And Funcom are very weird people in the sense of like how they admin this game, so they won't interfere or anything. So if you lose something, you're very unlikely to be able to get them to return it back to you, unless it's, you know, a game mechanic that is very wrong, or they've made a mistake, which they've done in the past. So I think it was within the first month of the game being out, they by mistake unset a PvP or PvE area and turned it into a PvP area. And loads of people's bases got raided because people could raid the base because it was in a PvP area, or it had been obviously marked as a PvP area even though it shouldn't have been. And those players that did end up getting raided and their stuff ransacked, they ended up getting more than double of their stuff back. Or at least that was the report. I don't know how true that was, but that's what I heard. About 700 more units. That's basically pretty much full up, and then we should be able to go. I'll leave some for someone else to come and get some. That'll be nice. They won't have enough to put a run through, but they'll be able to get enough. Way more than what you get from a small spice field. The small spice field is almost not worth doing unless you're that desperate for it and you've never done it before maybe as well, and you just want to get used to it a bit. But a small spice field, you literally have about a maximum of, I'd say, about 10 blasts in it with a a compactor like I've got, which is a Mark V improved one. And yeah, you will effectively harvest the whole field with only 10 kind of strikes towards the field. So it goes very fast, and you only get about 500 units from it, so you really don't get very much at all. And then you have to go and find another one. But to be fair, you don't even have to leave Hagga Basin to get them, so why you would come to the deep desert to get a small spice field, I have no idea. But I have done it in the past myself, only because I've spent ages trying to find one, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a small one just for the sake of it, because I haven't been able to find a medium one. So I think we should have all we need, but I'm just gonna do this one more fill. Okay, we're full. And I'm not gonna leave them there because I hate leaving piles that will basically just be lost if I don't pick them up, because they'll despawn. So I'll just pick these up and then we'll go. We should have enough. I've actually got 1,000 back in the base as well, so I don't really need like a full 10,000 units with us, because we've got more back at the base, but we'll try and go with the full allocation, which we've now got. So we'll go back past our deep desert base. Is that another medium one? My god, I think that's another medium one. 2 mediums that close to each other. That's ridiculous. Come out to the deep desert this week. Wow. It's raining spice fields. I didn't even see it blow out, so we must have gone over that before, and I hadn't noticed. But someone is harvesting that. You can see the fact that it's got parts cut out of it already, which means that someone's probably down there harvesting right now, or they just decided to harvest it and disappear. It was the big giveaway that someone was harvesting it way back when. Obviously, they've changed all the mechanics now, so you can actually see people from a long distance away. Or at least you can see people in ornithopters a long distance away. That was all about the anti-ganking kind of mechanic, really, to try and give people an easier way to see people. Because the way the mechanic used to work is your line of sight wasn't very far. So if anyone was coming in an ornithopter, you would literally only see them as they were right on top of you, or you may never even see them. The first thing you would see or feel is their rockets. So they effectively changed the line of sight from what was a very short distance to now being able to see someone probably to where those rocks are now in an ornithopter distance. So you can see someone significantly far away. And that was all brought in to try and help kind of counter the ganking that was happening quite heavily in the game at the very start of when Dune Awakening first came out. Now, the player base is, I wouldn't say near not existent, because I do see people out more than I used to be fair. There was a period of about a month and a half where I didn't see a soul for a long time, either Hagga Basin or the deep desert. And then I would say 2 months ago, I've seen quite a bit of an uptick in players either returning or new players giving it a go. And it has, I would say it's like there are more players and you're more likely to see people now. Nothing like when it was when the game first came out, because the player base back then, I think at peak it was 180,000, something along those lines. Near that number at least, of people that were in the game at any one point. That's where it got to its highest peak, which isn't that high really, but not for a new game coming out, because most games peak high and then go down to whatever, you know, base level play they get. This game at the moment, I think, has gone down to, well, last time I checked, there's 10,000 players in the game at any one point, and that's during the weekends. Obviously, when more people are on, because during the week you obviously get down spikes during the middle of the week because people have work and, you know, other things in their life, and then obviously weekend you've got the downtime and stuff. So that's when you're more likely to see your true peaks, or where your game's healthy or not. I'm not sure whether like Funcom are happy with where theirs has dropped down to. Like 10,000 is not bad, but it's not great either for what's still a pretty new game. Okay, it's been out for like over 6 months now, but still, I'd still say it's pretty new. So I wouldn't bother going back, if I'm honest, and taking this spice melange back either right now. But the fact that I have to go back for the fuel cells means that, well, why not? Get some spice sand on, and then we could start building some of our containers and stuff. Because at the moment, all my building and stuff is ground to a halt, because everything I need now requires spice melange. So we need to do a lot of spice harvesting now. So today is just the start of what is going to be another slog of harvesting, which I have done in the past. Like when I did the recovery and stuff like that, there was a big period there where I was doing like day on day out there in the spice fields, grinding away, which is when obviously I then became spice rich, and the rest was history. Or was, yeah, notice I said was spice rich. Like I would be spice rich again if I just took my base apart, but at the moment it's all invested in the base. And all this stuff I'm getting now is to be invested in the base. Because like one of those generators alone takes 250 or thereabouts, I think, 240 maybe, spice melange to put one of them up. And when we do that run through the large spice refiner, that 10,000 units gets pushed down to only 200 units. Now that might sound bad, but if you worked out the efficiency ratio of that compared to the small one, you'll know that that's actually really good, but it still feels bad. It feels bad in the sense of like how much I've got tied up in businesses at the moment. Well, I say businesses tied up in building. Like this whole building right now holds over 3,500 spice melange in all of the things that are currently up at the moment, because there's a number of items that you have to build, and some of them are, quite a few of them, all the high tier ones all require spice melange in order to be able to build it. Like these ones, this takes like, other than if you're doing the, so this I think it's the second largest thing that you can build and has the requirement for, which I don't have a building tool on me, but it's about 240. The most it takes to build for spice melange is the actual spice refiner itself. So the spice refiner here in Hagga Basin costs you 1,000 spice melange to put this up. 1,000. Now, if you're starting off, you need to be in a deep desert, and you can put one of these up for 500 in a deep desert because all your resources are halved. So if you're trying to look to get into it, you need to be out in the deep desert, and you need to start doing all of this stuff out there, because that will get you richer, and then you can build all these big items, carry on getting the best efficiency, getting the most spice melange for all of the spice sand you're gathering, and then you'll be able to get enough, or build enough growth or wealth of spice melange, which means that you can then at some point bring it and build it back here because you have enough to be able to build it here. But yeah, when you're initially starting out, you'll need to realistically do it out there. And some players argue why you'd ever want to build it here. I'll tell you why. So you don't become reliant on being out there all the time. But that's another thing, I guess. Oh yeah, one thing we'll need to do is we need to turn the power on. That power unit that we walked past that I didn't turn on when I came in, that I should have done. And you also get like nice purpley smoke that comes out of it instead of the crap that you get out of the other one. We'll put that on and put that on, and that's how long it takes. 45 minutes. So in 45 minutes time we'll have 200 spice melange, and effectively we'll be able to build those large containers. We won't be able to build the containers because I don't have enough platinum, which is the other thing I need to do this week. Which is why I need to take the buggy out there. So I'll need to come back with the carrier to take that out there, unless I take it apart, which I could do. The only thing is I don't like taking it apart because you lose the power that you get from when you take it apart. So if you've got full battery or it's fully fueled, you'll fully lose that when you take it apart. Which I've done a number of times and then realised and then gone to use it when I've like put it back together on the other side and then gone, oh yeah, you need a battery again, don't you? Like, typical. So we'll dump. Got more spice on there for some reason. Don't know why. That's everything. What else did I want? I wanted batteries, which is the main reason. We've put our spice melange in. We can leave that running. Then we'll go back out to the deep desert, go back to our spice fields, because I've seen that other one. So unless there is someone at that one, I might go and finish the one we did and then go do the other one. Failed that a little bit. That's used one of the smaller ones. Oh, that used the medium one. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oh, actually no, yeah, the medium ones aren't that big. Not for this. Like this elite those up quite easily. The large one, generally the only vehicle that fully eat a large one is the carrier. And the buggy does eat quite a bit, but if it's fully empty, would it like take about half of like battery? What is even half? Actually, I think you can get 3 fills on a large battery for a buggy. You do actually take damage now, I've noticed as well, when you crash into the walls. I still do it because you can't hardly bloody see the damn things. I don't care if the developers have changed the code so that you now take damage when you hit them. Like, say Tricky trying to come up to them super slow just so you don't hit them. Crash. Press the button, you're You'll get out of there before you hit the bottom. The only case where that's not the case is when you're in the deep desert and you'll hit it and then you literally have to like hover to stop yourself going down. So no one's guessed correctly about like what this game, this music's from. So I'm just gonna kill it and tell you what it actually is. The actual music's from Fallout. Now I've told you that, you'll recognise that it's 60s music, which is what Fallout is based on. It's based on a nuclear apocalypse type thing that happened in the 60s. Which I only found that out very recently, to be fair. Like in the last year or so. Because I've never actually played Fallout. I recently did get the game, or one of the original games, because it was given out for free during a certain week on Steam. So I got hold of a copy, but I still haven't played it. And I only have any knowledge of it really because I watched the TV series when it came out last year. I think it was on Netflix. I don't know. I didn't watch it completely legal. You know what I mean? But yeah, I did watch it. It's quite a good series. Well, there's a player base. Quite close to mine for once. There's no one ever near me normally. So when we look at the map, because we've actually been at the spice field, we should see it actually there. Now we didn't see the one that was in between us because we weren't down low enough. If you've got a scanner, you would be able to scan it from the sky, and from when you scan it, it will then register on your map. But until you actually verify a landmark, it won't show regardless to whether you see it. So just a note for yourself that if you are ever out in the deep desert and you're marking things, make sure you either scan it so that it registers the landmark, or if you don't have that, you'll need to go down low enough for it, and it'll then come up and it'll then show like a marker. When it shows the marker, it then marks it on the map, but until it does that, it won't show. You do have to go pretty close to do that, by the way, as well. Not like just hovering over it, like literally almost right on top of it. Should mark that on the map, because while it's on my map, I can't actually see it on the compass. Could be like going off slightly the wrong direction, just by a degree or so, and it's takes you miles off. Feels very Francy, this music. Francais. Ah la la. if you wonder why I play this type of music, it's more about playing copyright free music. So I do pay for the music that I do stream, but it has the rights to be able to be used in the way I'm using it. So it means I can run it on the stream and not get into trouble from the likes of YouTube, Twitch, and whoever else want to, tell me off for like playing copyrighted music, because you're not allowed to do it. It's bad enough when you play GTA like I was yesterday, and Dr. Dre features in that game, but he also does some music in it, and I'm just like, will you stop doing that? I've turned music off, and for some reason they've done it so that it still plays it, and then when they're doing like all the scenes with Dr. Dre in it, and I'm like, will you stop doing that? That'll well get me marked in YouTube and everyone else. I'm sure they pick up on it and go, yep, that's Dr. Dre. That's one mark against you. 2 more and you're out. Where's that spice field? That spice field's like further down. Here's our one though. Pretty well done actually. Looks like the sun's going down, so we'll do the side where the sun's not up at the moment. And then by the time hopefully we finish this side, the sun will be down and we'll be doing the rest under the moon night. These like massive dunes. Like at the bottom of our valley. I'm half waiting for a worm to come because I have done quite a bit of spice hitting, although this is the first one since we've been back, so the aggro will be lower. Oh, it's close. I reckon it's going to come any minute. Quickly pick up these because they'll despawn if we leave them for too long. Wait a minute. What I was waiting to do. That's your perfect escape. Use your chicken claw, get out. Bit of hover. As soon as you're getting into like a spice crawler, you need to perfect that because you need to be able to get very fast out your sand crawler to your carrier. Get your carrier up, get your carrier to pick up your sand crawler. And this is the reason why I'm nervous about it, because I still haven't perfected the skill at picking up the whatever I'm picking up very fast. Like it normally takes me a couple of goes, and you don't normally have that time to do that when you've got firstly get back to your ornithopter and then kind of get back up in the air, then get over the object you're trying to pick up. And there's a sandworm that's just buried my stuff. Will you go away? I hate that when a sandworm does that. The first time that happened to me, I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to be eaten. And there was a reason why I was there, wasn't it? I was about to empty my thing. Oh, you're not angry. You're very angry, aren't you? Happy I'm not... Or not happy, should I say, that I'm here. Taking all your love juice. If you have never actually realised what spice melange is, it's a byproduct of the spice of the actual worms. So these worms are the ones that actually produce it. I'm not sure exactly how. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not their love production organs, but it's some sort of byproduct from the worm. Oh, they've despawned. Although I was already looking at it. Nope. Let's see if we can get it back. Nope, we lost it. That's what happens if you leave it too long. But to be fair, like, we're on the edges, so it wouldn't have been a huge amount of loss in that. Even though, like, they look full. That's one thing I've actually noticed more recently is a while back you would rarely see a big difference between the edges and the spice like mounds that are created on the edges to what they were like when they're in the middle. They just seem to all be big now, regardless to how much spice sand is actually in that pile. Where quite a while back they used to all be very different size. So if there wasn't that much in it and you only had about 10 units, it would be like just the smallest mound and hill. And I'm not sure if they made that change just to make it easier for players to see where the mounds were. But it's certainly consistently now they all seem to just be all pretty much the same size. Sometimes you get a smaller one, but generally they're all the same big size, or whatever size kind of collection you're able to carry. Like this one will do large, but if you've got a medium or a small one, obviously your piles would be smaller anyway. So today's stream does normally only go up to 9 o'clock, but I'm out anyway. I'm harvesting. I do want to go to the gym because Tuesday and Thursday nights are my gym nights, so I will be cutting off the stream at least at 10 o'clock, even if I don't leave before that. Although ideally I do need to go to the shop because I was meant to go to the shop early yesterday and finish the stream early yesterday and didn't. And I did get a supplement of what I wanted to get, but it's only a much smaller size than what I wanted to get. So I do need to get one today if I can. It almost feels like a bit of Hawaiian-y music. Out there with your cocktail, sitting on the beach. We're just missing some sea. Got plenty of sand.
You say yes, you say no. I confess, I don't know what's with you, baby. How come you treat me like you do? First you're bold,
There's our friend.
then you're
Or not friend.
makes me sad. What's with you, baby? How come you treat me like you do? You say maybe, I think maybe everything could be as it should be. I would gladly love you madly. Would
Yeah,
it
man.
really make
It's like he stopped. He must have been there and then just like literally stopped. I was waiting for him to go under.
being unkind? Let down your hair, you surely must care. How come you treat me like you do? What's with you, baby? How come you treat
Probably should have
me
bought a spare compactor out for me because I don't think this had much life. Yeah, probably got.
What's with you, baby?
Maybe got enough to finish the field. It might die before you finish the field though. On a full life, a compactor will normally last, I'd say, roughly
Make up your mind
about 3 fields, 3.5 medium fields.
on your hair, you surely must care.
Which that's, you know, that's quite a considerable amount of. That'll give you about 800 spice melange by the time you put it through a large spice refiner.
How come you treat me like you do?
I'm not sure how high you actually need to be. Like, I've never been low enough to actually be eaten by one, but sometimes I am a bit low and you do wonder whether or not it might just reach up a little bit and try and take a nibble. Which way it's like, I'm pretty sure it came from that direction, but I wasn't 100% sure. Like, there's a slight marker that suggested it did, but it went up and went back down into the sand really fast. That's like one of the fast ones, but because it's so far away now, that mechanic they have changed to put it further away makes a big difference. Because previously, if that had been one of the very close spawns as well, That's one of the ones that could easily catch you out. Oh, my power packs just went up. Really? I thought the power pack was pretty good. Maybe not. Oh, and that's... Ugh. We're just getting every sign saying, stop spice harvesting. But I want to. Now we're going to have to go back to Hagga Basin because I don't have any repair tools out here. Or repair facility. I could build on them actually. Could build on. I won't have the raw resources, the repair raw resources, I don't think, to repair it. Yeah, so that's pretty dead. Let's go see what that other field looks like and see whether it's still being touched. Like if someone's on it, I'd expect it to be pretty like ours now, close to being finished. Where is that field? It wasn't there, was it? I swear it was like on the other side mound. Are you just teasing me, game? Because that one even looks like it's untouched, but it don't look like it's been touched. I'm going to go down just to register it, so it shows them up. That should be registered. They do tend to normally spawn in the same places, so that's the reason for me marking it. Because someone will come and harvest that before I get to it. I imagine they will. I'm also playing an American time zone server, so Americans don't tend to normally get on until about 11 o'clock. My time, that is, so another like 35 minutes is normally when they start coming on. You'll obviously get the odd person that's on before that, that might have been off that day, not working, or etc. But most of the people, they'll get on later in the evening. So it's mainly weekends and evenings, late evenings for me that I get to see people. The odd time, like me, there are some like European players as well on it, like that do have my thinking of like, well, you know, if I go to a different time zone server, then I can do my stuff out of peak, and then when it gets to peak, I can then do PvP and do other things that, you know, interact with players. Like you get to choose what you want to do when you want to do it, rather than like having to try and do some dangerous stuff when you're having to play during your peak time zone on the server. It's just this kind of gets the best of both. Allows you to do all your resources and anything else that you want to do off the peak of the time zone of the server, and then when the peak comes, you've got all your stuff done and you can, you know, jolly off and do all that stuff there. So considering what time we are like at 10 now. Well, 9:30. But like I said, I do want to go to the gym because this is my gym night, and we normally do finish at 9 on a Tuesday anyway. So I think considering I've had to come back and I'm gonna have to go and get some repair, go back to Hagga Basin and do some other stuff, means that I'm probably gonna end the stream now so I can park stuff up, leave it, and then come back after my gym and stuff and finish off a couple of things offline. But we will be streaming again tomorrow. Tomorrow we are in GTA, so if you love the hustle and bustle of the San Andreas and all of the love and fun that happens in GTA, then do catch us in GTA tomorrow. We'll be streaming for tomorrow from 8 o'clock in the evening. If you do love the content and you want to consider subscribing, then do consider subscribing, help support the channel. But yeah, that's going to be end of today's stream. So thanks very much everyone, and good evening, good night.